Hello and welcome everyone to a Sacred Symbols reading. I'm your host, Desiree DeMars. It is Sunday, May 15th. It is the day preceding a full lunar eclipse. It's one of only two this year, I believe. And so my understanding, which is a limited amount of astrological know-how, but as far as influences, if we're just looking at the collective and the greater field, this is something we're being affected by, and it's a part of a greater cycle, which what I have been really fascinated by recently is that the acknowledgement from NASA of photographing the center of the galaxy, Sagittarius star A, I believe it is, in which we are merging. So our galaxy is merging. You know, this is something that we're all feeling, nobody talks about, but we're all feeling the impact of it on the greater collective. And so this merging of our galaxy with Sagittarius is profound, as I'm sure most people are feeling it in their life. Huge transitions, everything is changing, the veil feels thin, we're communicating with loved ones across the veil, and other energies and entities, and remembering all kinds of things from our past lives. All of this stuff that seemed very woo-woo years ago is now coming into the realm of the common man, so to speak, that you're not alone. There, it's growing. More and more people are understanding and experiencing these things and becoming more aware of their superconscious awareness, their superconscious field of awareness, which is directly connected to source. So, excuse me if I am swallowing a lot or drinking water. We've got a lot of pollen in the air these days here in North Carolina, with spring being in full bloom. And I'm just kind of hanging in there with that. Although it's beautiful and green and lush, so I'm so grateful for that. And I've already made an offering. I did a short prayer and connected with my guides, but I'm going to lead us all through this experience. If you'd like to, you can always fast forward, but I'm going to invite you all to close your eyes. And just because it's a special day, it's a special event coming up this evening. I believe around 11 o'clock, you can start watching NASA's recording of this. If you don't have a great view from where you are, or if it's foggy, I think we're supposed to have some rain and fog coming in, or some storm activity. So you've always got that, which I'm sure will be airing from multiple observatories or satellites. So again, let's create ceremony together today by taking some deep breaths in and exhaling through your mouth, so you can relax the jaw, the throat, the neck, the shoulders, and simply allow your brain to soften and the head to just float easily and effortlessly. And yet allow the body to deepen, to sink in, to drop back, as if it were embraced by all these guides, angels, and teachers that we're calling in. And really feel your body softening, that you are just surrendering to this higher level of truth, this clarity, wisdom, and guidance that we're bringing in. And then we'll blow into the basket together with our intention. I'll do a little bit of rattling and then the invocation. Hopefully it will get recorded and not noise canceled out. Forgive me if that happens. But Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, infinite creator of all that is, come and be with me. Come and be with us as we sit in this sacred circle that we are expanding outward from our central channel into the room that we sit, out onto the property that we reside on or we are resting in, and then even beyond that to the land where our ancestors once were. Come and be with us. Come and be with us, knowing that all of our ancestors reside in every aspect of life force that is around us. Come and be with us, creating this sacred circle for our journey into the reading of the bones. Come and be with us, all of the elements, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, the ether, the plasma, neutrinos, gammas, all those elements yet unknown to man. Come and be with us. Come and be with us, all of the directions, the east, the south, the west, the north, above, below, and the middle. Come and be with us. Come and be with us, all of our guides, angels, teachers, guardians, the seen and the unseen, the magical and the mystical, the two-legged, the four-legged, the many-legged, the winged ones, the finned ones, and the creepy crawlers. Come and be with us. Come and be with us, all of our ancestors, those who've gone before us, lived a good life and transcended and are now here, working on our behalf for our ancestral healing, for our ancestral evolution, so that it is not only the evolution of our soul, but the evolution of the whole. Come and be with us, all of those whose names we do not know, but whose blood runs through our veins, and whose DNA, whose messages through this genetic coding, through this sacred geometry, is now unraveling, unfolding, expanding, and growing. I feel the chills in my head as I say that. So just notice where you might be feeling this when any of these words that I'm speaking really resonate with you. Come and be with us. All who are present now, all who will be with us in the future, watching this recording, knowing that they too are on a journey for evolving the soul and supporting the evolution of the whole. And with that said, let's just call in that beautiful divine white light that's always there, but bringing it even more consciously down to surround us and bring us down into a grounding, an anchoring into the earth so that we can express this strength of stability, wisdom, guidance, knowing intuitively, right, outside of mind, but in all of our senses and all of our extended senses. Feel ourselves grounded. And from that grounding, we can then allow the expansion to go even more deeply, even further from this place of center. Feel it expanding outward and imagine bringing in these higher frequencies of joy, peace, strength, courage, gratitude, humility, and divine love. Those energy centers, those chakras, those are the emotional frequencies of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Just feel that expanding outward, spiraling up through your central channel, and then spilling over like a fountain that is infinite and eternal into this toroidal field that is you, that surrounds you, that is a part of you, and also a part of the greater field. Into that superconscious arena of information that is no polarity, no judgment, no personal identification, but pure essence, pure form, pure source. And then imagine a golden light coming down from that same area, from the ancient ones, from the ascended masters, the angelic realms. Feel that vibrational frequency across the veil that aligns us with this soul information, the soul understanding, the soul direction. It's making my head itch. My whole head. Feel your crown chakra. Feel as I speak those words, how the crown chakra feels when you align with that knowing, that awareness of who you really are, of how you're connected to your star nations, the star that you are, the stardust, right, that we are experiencing, and the awareness that's bringing us even deeper of this Sagittarius cosmology, because what NASA actually has been photographing now, has been able to, through satellite photograph, is a giant black hole. And so now we know it's some aspect of its form, how it's revealing itself to us so that we can connect with it. Because a huge part of what is going on right now, aside from us going through the photon belt, this is all part of a greater cycle of our cosmology, our solar system, our planetary bodies are moving and merging with Sagittarius. The Milky Way is merging with Sagittarius. That's my understanding astrologically, or through astronomical understandings of these planetary energies. And so just feel into that. This is what's happening in the greater collective, in the greater field. And sometimes I ask that question too, what difference does this make? Or what difference does it make that I would know something about, whether it's astrology, astronomy? And so that answer that I received, in fact, I received some clarity today about that being that sometimes, even if it doesn't feel like it is a prominent issue or idea that needs attention from us, sometimes the attention or the intention, the greater intention, can be that it's about the collective, and we're starting to see what's happening in mass in a greater system, in a greater or more a deeper quality of experience. Because the stuff that seemed like it was woo-woo, right, 10, 20 years ago, I mean, I remember when I got into teaching yoga, people thought I was crazy. So, it's all relative, and it is all unfolding, whether we quote unquote know it or not. Something greater is happening, and we actually know very little about it. But this, I believe, this awakening, this age of Aquarius, really is about that it is us awakening to the greater powers, the greater abilities, the greater capacity or capabilities that we all have, when we recognize that we are not just human, that this human experience has brought us to a place to know ourselves so that we may know the greater aspects of ourselves. So with all of that said, feeling that golden light coming down through your central channel and activating that aspect of the greater field that is not in duality, right? That is turning lead into gold. That is the metaphor, the symbol, that we are all our own medicine. We are alchemists in our own right, and that we are transforming not only ourselves, but our conscious field of awareness. And so it is. So we thank all whose presence is here with us now, here with us today, here with us always, with gratitude and appreciation from the core, the center of our hearts. So we know that gratitude amplifies everything. And from here, this is where we will hold that intention for guidance and wisdom. You know, almost every week before I do this, I think I should study a little more or dive a little bit deeper into what I already know so that I could bring deeper levels of guidance forward. And then when I really tune into my guides, they say, that's happening all the time, Desiree. All you need to do really, and I'm just passing this on to you too, is that all we really need to do, each and every one of us, is to be more and more fully present. The more present we are, the more aligned we are with our own inner truth. And so we are reflecting the inner truth that we are seeing outside of us. So now let's all focus our I am presence, our intention for today, our attention on the sacred symbols, that they may be reflections for what we are experiencing inside of us and around us. And M for emotion, motion, holo movement, this movement that we are a part of, whether it's a small internal one or it's a greater one happening out in a universal manner. So feeling that heartfelt, heartfelt intention that is in coherence. Now the brain and the mind working as one. I invite you to blow into the objects, the symbols, the curios, the bones, and blow 3 times. What it is you have your attention set on today, creating the intention for what is stirring within us, what is moving forward, what is evolving, what is seeking to guide us in this moment and into our future. I'm going to tip the screen down now so you can see to the best of my ability here. That looks pretty good today. These bones as we throw them. Wow. Okay, that's a really interesting spread today. It's fascinating in that it's very condensed today. I don't know if you can see that or notice that, if any of you have been following along through the series here of these weekly readings. Often it'll be more spread out. And yet here today, we have this concentration of pieces. Let me adjust here a little bit. Yeah, okay. Just try to get into the center of the screen so you can see the most. Yeah, and again, you know, what you see is great. What you don't see is fine. Just what is similar to what I was saying, you know, what you hear what you need to hear. Yeah, you hear, and it's all perfect and it's all good, right? Just as it was meant to be, because you just can't make this stuff up. Look at this beautiful configuration with our 3rd chakra right in the center of the eye of God. No wonder everything is like super concentrated here. There is some kind of a focus or a focal point. Look how much is in the central diamond here. Yeah. So as always, even though things catch your eye, you just notice what that is so that when I come around to it, it might pique your awareness again. But I usually look at, wow, the this piece of coral that represents the intention, the inquiry. And it too has an amazing, there are things layered up. It's fascinating. There is a theme here already about layers, right? There are deeper layers of things that are happening and unfolding. This is what I say, we're in a process of unfolding. And I'm sure that's a part of what this eclipse is reflecting to us, is that there are deeper layers. They will be unfolding over the next 6 months, from my understanding. And it is a sacred journey that we're on. That's what this little half moon piece is. And this gem on top of the coral is about our earth chakra, right? That chakra below the soles of our feet, or our earth sun. That is that field, right? That grounded field. That connects us to the earth, to this planetary body, which of course is not solid, really, is it? It's liquid and gas and all kinds of things. And yet its molten core is iron. And so there is this resonance between the molten core of the earth and the blood that runs through our veins. So here it is. That's the top layer of the inquiry. So whatever you inquired about, take note that there's a couple of layers to get to that. One of which is this recognition of the sacred, and also this, look, it's right at the fork in the road, which is fascinating. And it's time for us to receive this information. I would say it's about sacred communication, sacred information, with this pine frond that is right there in the crux of it, right at the fork in the road. So if you're feeling that energy or essence of a fork in the road for yourself, you might want to just take note that it's time to receive. That's the positioning of what it's saying. It's time to receive. And I know many of us who are caretakers, or caregivers, or good at giving and not receiving. There's something about, again, kind of dissolving this idea of a duality, separating things, but thinking of things more in a cycle. There's times to give and times to receive. To everything, turn, turn, turn. This is what comes through my awareness of it. And then what's important to do, in closer to home with that, I would say, is to cut away, release, let go of whatever no longer serves. And I know that's one of the themes, I believe, with Taurus and Pluto, or, forgive me for not knowing all the astrological details, but there is something big about this eclipse, or not the eclipse even so much, but this Mercury retrograde that we're in. So whatever does not serve you, it's a great time to reconfigure, release, revitalize, refresh, reconstruct something to our likings, to the new, to the who we are now, right? To who we are, what we are wishing for. And this is about the earth, even a new vision for our earth. Yes, because there's a lot of emotional impact here, right? With this, I know for me, some days that is some of the most challenging information to digest and integrate. It is the idea, the emotional impact that we as humans, and then the whatever global warming or whatever aspects that we know very little about, are coming into our awareness, because it is, it's affecting our foundation. This is our base chakra. Big transitions there, really asking us to root ourselves, ground ourselves daily. And here, this is beautiful. Our mothers, so your maternal grandmother and grandfather, take note of them in this process that you may be going through, also of a soul remembering or a soul retrieval, because it's part of this great mystery that's playing out or unfolding. And so the emotions can be amazing information carriers, right? Great, great reflection of what's being healed, what's being transformed in our ancestral lineage. And sure enough, here's our DNA here, right? So big changes, lots of movement, lots of layers to kind of uncover and discover different, or maybe more fine-tuned, different aspects that are unfolding for us. As I move around in this direction, coming out of the inquiry, here we have Eagle Condor, close to our vision, right? And the shell that represents you as this person in this body right now. Yeah, some deep internal work. We're all going through some deep internal work, facing down. Here is our heart is at the center of the matter. This is really what we're reattuning to, our heart field, our heart energy. And one on the dice is about, creating new, the one, coming back to center, back to the one. I think that's really reflecting what I see here with this eye of God. And that's where our power is. Our power is truly in our hearts. So do you see how beautiful this is, like reflecting a repeating pattern, the repeating symbology of looking within the layers deeper. Here we are. First, you could just look at it at first and say, oh, we're not being open or receptive. We're facing down. But in truth, it's because we're turning our gaze inward into the heart of the matter, the heart center of ourselves, and coming back to oneness for a vision into the future that is healing, that is in a collective. The frog's all about our collective soul, our soul's journey. And, our maternal lineage is playing a huge part. I'm getting chills at the top of my head. Here's mother. So no accident. Your mother, a young adult, grandmother, grandfather, all on your mother's side, your maternal lineage. Really, the powerhouse is here, and they are helping to heal, to have a soul remembering around who we really are in our foundation on this earth, in our home. Look at those layers in our star nations. Wow, I could not have set those up. That is fantastic. What an incredible alignment, right, of energy. And then as we move forward, we've got ancient ancestors on both our mother and father's side. These are our mothers, ancient ones. These are the fathers, ancient ones, the women, the men. That's beautiful coming out as we move through this process, this eclipse, and even for the next few weeks up until I think mid-June, we're being influenced somewhat by Mercury retrograde. And, Mercury retrograde is not all this bad juju about things not working and happening. In fact, there are planetary influences, and it depends on where Mercury is in your chart. But this idea of kind of reviewing is powerful, right? It's slowing us down. It's giving us time to review and get more clarity about the vision of our future. And then the vision of who we are in relationship with, right? This is beautiful. I've got timekeepers here right next to the 5. I'm getting chills all the way up my leg. This creative force that's going on, this is key. Follow your creative impulses. Notice what kind of creative ideas are coming to you right now, because the timekeeper is showing me that things are moving fairly quickly, even though there are aspects like this retrograde, which assists us in having some kind of a pause. But that's only to give us a breath, right? Give us a moment to look at that childlike part of yourself and what has maybe been locked up, hidden, unexpressed, because the sun is shining its light, this photon belt activity, and the release of these incredible, we don't even know, gamma rays and beyond from the sun right now, with these massive coronal ejections that are happening. So the best thing to do, here, the guidance of our ancestors, of these sacred symbols, is saying, take time for reflection. Remember to go into innocence, right? And here we go again, a layer here, Pachamama, that'll connect us even on even greater levels to the earth, but also gain access. It'll support us in gaining access to the insight that is from the inner eye, right? That comes from the inner eye, not just the outer self. So integrating the inner eye for higher levels of wisdom, we have the angelics and the ascended masters, this white light that is like a fountain of infinite and eternal light, helping to, in some odd way, also ground us down into the center of the earth, so that when we are doing ceremony, as we are now, I call this ceremony. You may have beautiful ceremonies, simple or complex, both, that give you support and guidance and insight. And here now, the closer to where you would be sitting in the reading is the aspects of your paternal lineage, which is really, here's your father. This is a young adult, and it's the energy here is about the home. This is the shaman. These are the ancient ones on your maternal side. So this is beautiful. So when you're feeling this fork in the road, which I think many of you are, especially around work, what is our true work? What is our soul's work? Here it rests on the fork in the road. And what's really cool is it's like balancing on top of horse, which is all about this movement, right? Movement, moving, feeling. I'm getting a sense of, it's about this idea of holo movement, right? That movement can be forward and back, up and down. It has no linear time and space frame. Movement can be in any direction at any time, especially when you're tapped into your superconscious field. And just know, here's a little reminder that we've got Uranian energy really throwing out or tossing in this idea of sudden and unexpected changes, which, I mean, they're just happening daily. It's like, I don't even read the news and I hear about some of these things that are changing on a planetarily. And here's the greats, the great grandparents, the great great greats, and the great 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 grandparents on your mother's side again, your maternal great ones. They are here and they are really supporting us in this idea of truth, love, and beauty, right? Expressing ourselves, communication. And that is a part of, again, this more internal aspect of our blueprint, right? Second chakra, right? What is this creative source, right, that we have within us that mirrors and reflects. This is grandmother on your father's side. Your grandmother on your father's side, really supporting this idea of communication, expressing the self, express what you feel you value, truth, love, and beauty. What does that mean to you? And speaking your truth here, right? And then this bigger cycle, this greater spiraling into space, we have, yeah, how sweet. Moon, Venus, yeah, Neptune, how interesting. So when you're feeling a little bit of a fog and it somehow is affecting these higher frequencies, this is a very interesting layered piece here. We've got Mars on the edge. Wow, it's very complex. The complexity lies in the mind. How can we peel back the layers of thought, the layers of mind on this journey that we're in? How can we tease out like these frequencies so that our third eye, I'm sorry, I think I said third eye over here, but it was throat chakra under something, right? Throat chakra makes total sense. Throat chakra, innocence of deer, really expressing it yourself, not necessarily from a mental state of mind, a mental point of view, or a mental perspective, but from the innocence, from the childlike self, the creative source. And this is your crown chakra. So the higher, the more innocence, the place of awe and wonder, right? Where, like a child, we feel the magnificence of just the beauty and nature of things around us, and especially the building blocks of all the things that make this earthly experience. So, what is also, I think this is fascinating that we've got, that idea of innocence, creativity, higher frequency levels, expression of that through the throat. Through the third eye, we've got the mind and the third eye kind of unraveling, unlayering, maybe teasing away, because what that's all about, this insight, this inner sight, that when we can tap into third eye level frequencies in the waking mind, what happens is, I think you get a double whammy. This is so interesting that this symbology is here. We've got transfiguration and rebirth. It's like, I love my, in fact, it reminds me of my mediumship mentor, Suzanne Giesman, often says, sometimes you get a golden nugget and it's like a 2-for-1. And I just love this. This feels like a 2-for-1. In fact, I got my whole body's got chills. And because we've got Mars here. So that's that part of the energy. We've got a lot of Mars energy astrologically now, moving us forward, really wanting us to create something new, right? Co-create, create on our own, whatever is right for you, but allow yourself this deeper level of insight, wisdom, understanding to come through, bring these higher frequencies through, because what's at the bottom of all of this, I can barely see her, but she's there, is the divine feminine. That's what's underneath all of this. The divine feminine. And, we could also say the earth as a living, breathing Gaia, right? She has her own evolutionary process she's going through. We can't even begin to know what is happening besides what's happening on the surface with us, right? That is just only one part of her higher intelligence, of her multiplicity, of her complexity, of functionality. I mean, all of that, it's all a sacred journey, and the divine feminine is guiding it all. That's what I would say this interpretation is. And it's really amplified by Venus. Again, like I said, this truth, love, and beauty. The moon, really letting those emotions that are underneath be the communication, right? Be the communicative expression of what we know and understand, and which I would say is, boom, right here. It's all pointing toward this divine union with the self, right? The divine union within your own heart, the sacred union, this Celtic knot within is representative of that. And that brings us right back to this idea. It's time to receive. Yes, we're at a fork in the road. There's huge changes, but the changes are about dropping and letting go of what no longer serves, which will help us ground ourselves even more into the earth. I mean, unless you got a ticket to Mars and you think you're going somewhere, I think you better fasten your seatbelt. Know that your DNA is adapting and changing for these greater transitions that are unfolding. Trust your emotional understanding of your soul remembering. And just know there might be kinks along this way. This little red dragon, she's here kind of saying, okay, you might feel like there's a little snafu here and then, now and then going on, but here's the guidance for that. When you feel the snafus coming on, number one, we basically know nothing. The great mystery is beyond what we can even comprehend with our little pea brains. What's important to remember is that at the soles of our feet, the palms of our hand, we have these these energetic chakras, these vortexes that can bring information in, and it's all about introspection. Sometimes we need to go within. This is Bear's wisdom about how to have balanced mind and have peace during this time of things being incredibly expanded, right? Jupiter is amplifying everything, the soul's journey that we're on, and creating something new, that which has not yet been born, coming or stemming from our soul, our star nations, our part in this greater star nation, or the star that we are, right? We are stardust. We are in close to angelic as you could get, and yet we're still in a human body, learning to master this place within us that is our rhythm. This represents drum, right? This pink shell represents the drum, the heartbeat, the resonance, the frequency of all, right? Of all that is the greater, the mother, the feminine forces. And here are the feminine forces on our ancient ancestors on our mother's side again. Really knowing that we will come into alignment of clarity, insight, understanding. Community is really important. That's one of the key. This is at center here. This is what here's like, keep the eye on the prize, right? And keep the childlike self within you activated. That is what is being healed at the core of all of this greater transition of these solar energies that we're being hit with, expanded, and this kind of gentle collision of cosmic forces in this merging of our galaxies. But what's most important through all of that is the human, what we can best do. Look at that lock and key right here. What is key is to tap into your passion. Do what you're passionate about. This is what will fuel your journey forward. It will fuel what you need to do to get forward, right? Into these greater transitions, right? There's an incredible transformation of the masculine happening right now. And what's important here too around that is that we have buffalo. Buffalo represents the idea of being provided for, provisions, right? We will have everything we need. We are creators. I have chills all over my entire body. I hope you do too. I just feel so blessed to be the orator, to be the oracular force that is carrying this message forth. So I hope, my hope and wish is this message, this understanding of the sacred, of sacred symbols, of sacred geometry, of our understanding of our human journey, the soul beneath that. Remember, we started out with this idea of layers. So what is below that is the soul's journey, expressing, understanding, getting to know itself, knowing itself, know thyself. And I just want to thank you for all those who have participated live, all those who will watch this someday in the future. And I am just personally so grateful to be able to witness my own journey with the sacred symbols as they expand and grow and come forth in new ways, at new levels, and that new layers begin to reveal themselves. I hope one day that I am able to write a book. I'm in the process. I've got some ideas for a couple of books, in fact, children's books, and I'm really excited about that. I'm just going to put it out there in the universe so that it has been spoken. And so I hope that you can do the same, and that maybe your intention, it's possible that your intention that you had for this reading could be the seed or the spark for amazing things yet to come, right? That which is not yet created, that stems from the greater knowing of the soul that we are, right? The star that we are. And we have the opportunity to experience at even greater levels of understanding what this means, right? What it means to be tapped in through our central channel to this core wisdom, our super conscious, to be able to flow back and forth freely without a division, so that unity truly becomes the diversity that everything is, right? That all that is. Oof. So with that said, again, my gratitude and appreciation to all of our guides, angels, teachers, guardians, those that have come before us, are guiding us now through our evolution. And you know, I just want to say the truth is what I know from the beauty of my studies with the magnetic mind, with the understandings of William Whitecloud's work, my coaching mentors, is that we're not broken, we're perfect. There's nothing to fix. All there is to acknowledge, to experience fully, to claim, to understand, and retrieve that connection or knowing to the creator that we each are. And then that together, our collective creations can create a new earth, a new world, new ways of being, new inventions beyond our understanding, right? That can literally help to embody a more sustainable reality for the greater good. Oh. And with that said, hopefully you will be able to hear the rattling. If not, just know that I am rattling the circle closed with gratitude and appreciation. Oh. Thank you for joining me. Please share and like, spread the word. Blessings.